every time Microsoft does an update, I have to make, that being that they did it like, I think on Friday or Saturday, I just, we didn't have a show, so I forgot to fix it. So here we go. I'm going to start it all over again. Okay? So, anyway, the Labor Day holiday weekend is over, and now we can look forward to the week ahead, and we'll have a look at the weather for the week ahead, the long range and the tropics, right here on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support because God knows we need support here. I'd like to hire a technician. Do your shopping on Amazon using our referral link at the top of the chat board or on the descriptor to this podcast. It's very easy. Just click on the link, do your shopping. Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you 1 cent. So we appreciate very much those of you who have done that by shopping our referral link on Amazon. And Tempest by Weatherflow, the revolutionary Tempest weather system, is yours. And you'll be part of the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is also on the descriptor to this podcast. Use the coupon code Joe Rayo.
Summer 2025, Joe.
Because if you do, you will get...
You'll get 10 big % off. Yeah.
I really need to remember to check the audio before we start. I'm just so excited, so anxious, so filled with energy to get back to normal here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. I will say two things, barring that minor interruption on Friday in some places that got downpours. I know Long Island had a couple of thunderstorms and downpours on Friday when the front went by. But this has got to be, I think, one of the nicest late summer weather stretches, not only in recent memory, but probably going even beyond that. I mean, this has been a really incredible stretch of dry weather and below normal temperatures for late August and early September, the likes we have not seen in probably decades.
I agree with you. It's been a long time, although I do remember on this day 41 years ago.
I knew you would.
Very similar to what we had, maybe actually 41 years ago is a little bit better. We had quite a few clouds in our sky during the course of the midday and afternoon hours, but they have cleared away now. Skies are going to be mostly clear tonight, and an even sunnier and probably even more delightful day coming up for tomorrow. And on Wednesday, and even Thursday doesn't look all that bad either.
No.
Joe?
And even the next cold front that's coming through on Friday doesn't look like it's going to have all that much with it, at least near the coast anyway. It might be a little bit more in the way of rain, say, I-81 west and Route 84 north. But other than that, I mean, there really is nothing to speak of.
Well, I did mention on Friday the possibility of an early rumble of thunder, but that's just a possibility, and just a few scattered showers. Yeah, you're right. It's not going to be a major problem, and hopefully, if things continue to move along, we'll have ourselves a nice weekend.
By the way,
Nice.
it's been great down here. I think when we last left you on Wednesday, I had gotten down to 45, and or whatever it was, either last Tuesday or last Wednesday. Got down to 45. It was Atlanta got down to 55, which was the coldest August low temperature ever in Atlanta, and their records go way back. So I would imagine that even here where I am in North Georgia, they've never, getting down to 45 in August is probably a once in a 10 or 20 year event. And the weather here in the mountains anyway has been spectacular. I mean, we've been topping out every day in the low 70s. Maybe I think we had one day that we got to 77 or 78, and the nights have been mostly down under 60. And I had a few more nights with lows down in the upper 40s. I cannot complain either. I just had a downpour go by a little while ago, but much, and we had one yesterday. We had a heavy one yesterday in the late afternoon or evening, but the vast majority of the time is dry. And in terms of the overall scale of the pattern, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're not going to 90 degrees anytime soon. Not just here, but for you.
Well, we had ourselves some wonderful weather for the holiday weekend, and it's very unusual because usually there's always one clinker out of the three, or four if you include the getaway day on Friday. Friday was not a great day, really. You know, it was kind of cloudyish, and I think we did have a few showers. But now we're looking for great weather to continue right on through into again possibly even Thursday. Tonight, Joe, I'm thinking of widespread in temperatures here in the lower Hudson Valley. I think lows are going to range tonight from 51 for the interior rural valleys to 60 right along the Sound Shore coastal areas, or maybe for urban areas like Yonkers and Mount Vernon. Really a nice night. Sunny tomorrow, 70s to near 80. Sunny and upper 70s to lower 80s on Wednesday. Even Thursday, we've got a cold front approaching, but before it starts to really, affect us, much of Thursday should be dry. I think lots of sunshine, clouds coming in late in the day, and then maybe a few showers Thursday night into part of Friday. And then, actually, it's a funny thing. There's actually two fronts. There's going to be one that's going to slide on through during Friday and Friday night. And then there's another one closely following behind it for Saturday. We're going to be kind of like in between the two fronts, the one that's departing and the one that's
Approaching.
approaching our area. And that second front doesn't look like it has much more than a few clouds with it. I'm not even calling for any precipitation. Once the second front goes by, Sunday should be great. Monday of next week, if you want to look all the way out that far ahead, looks great as well.
Another coolish air mass coming in behind it.
Yes.
Yep. Leaves are already changing here. Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board. Hope you had a great holiday weekend, the last one of the summer. And welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here normally Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. We took a long weekend, but back onto a normal schedule. And Fridays and Saturdays are off days unless we have a storm around. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn those notifications on so you don't miss us. And, of course, if you like the show, what should they do if they like the show, Joe?
They should hit that button and give us a like.
What
We'd
button?
like to have 100.
Like button.
We'd like to have 100. We'd like to have 100 of those likes tonight.
When you have a watches and warnings map that looks like it does today, which I have up on the screen, it's probably getting 100 likes is going to be a difficult accomplishment. Not that people don't like this type of weather, but we know that the weather folks like to have activity going around on someplace. And actually, the where you have to go for that is in the west. And of course, as cool as it's been in the east, you have the offsetting factor of somebody else on the west. If the east is cool, the west is warm, and that's what we have going on. We have heat advisories up and down the interior of California and even down along the south coast, including LA. We also have flash flood watches up for some of the mountains inland in the southern portion of the Sierra Nevadas. And we've got some heat advisories going up and even some extreme heat warnings going up into Oregon and into Washington State. But in the east, as terms of adverse weather, I mean, it's not picture perfect everywhere, don't get me wrong, but we don't have anything that's causing any serious problems from what we can see. I'm going to switch the satellite loop so we can take a look at where there's some lightning flashes going on with some thunderstorms. And even across the Gulf states, it's just quiet. There's a couple of storms running around in Alabama and eastern Tennessee. Those have all weakened. There's not much over the state of Florida. There's a little bit of activity in the southwest, but not much there at the moment. The West Coast, at least as of 4:47 Pacific time, is pretty quiet up and down the West Coast. And we've got a few cells up in Minnesota. And actually, Joe, with this next approaching cold front, the northeastern part of Minnesota could see the first snowflakes of the season.
Well, and that would be, of course, over the higher terrain, obviously.
Well, is there higher terrain in northeast Minnesota?
Well, I don't, you would think overall through much of the winter season and into the spring and maybe into the early part of the fall, which we're not there yet. It's cold enough in northern Minnesota for maybe some freezing or frozen precipitation, but we only entered the month of September today. And by the way, today is as early as Labor Day can come. First day of September. It falls on a Monday, and the usual axiom is that if we get to Labor Day, there's always at least, or usually there's always at least one significant tropical cyclone, be it a tropical storm or even a hurricane. But this is one of those rare years, Joe, where we don't have anything of the sort. We do have something that may become a tropical cyclone on the Hurricane Center's outlook for the next, 3 to 7 days. But today, Labor Day, sans any kind of storm of significance. Believe it
Yeah.
or not.
There's a little short wave that this morning was off the coast of New Jersey and Long Island. And you see that little curl of clouds that's over upstate New York and New England. I don't know where that came from, but it did. And that's lifting northward. It's been lifting northward all day, which explains why you had cloud cover for part of the day today. But everybody else across the Great Lakes, down through most of the Mid Atlantic and Southeast, enjoyed a good deal of sunshine. As we check out the radars tonight, there's even a little bit of spotty act. This is all aloft, these little blue streaks that you see in upstate New York and in Vermont, New Hampshire. Nothing here is reaching the ground that I know of. There's some showers well offshore southeast of Cape Cod, and that's it. We've got a couple of showers in North Georgia, Southeast Tennessee, and Western North Carolina, and you can see the couple of showers and storms there in Alabama. A little cluster of thunderstorms and severe weather in South Central Kansas and into Western Oklahoma, and a little bit of activity in the Southwest. We've got a couple of thunderstorms running around in Southeast Arizona, and then you can see the cells that are going on in parts of southern Minnesota, as well as in North Dakota, with a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings there. The Storm Prediction Center has one small area of marginal risk in southern Kansas and western Oklahoma for tonight into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, a small area of marginal risk from northeast South Dakota into Minnesota. So, for isolated severe thunderstorms, you can see much of the east uh, sitting quietly, as well as a good chunk of the Gulf Coast, just a couple of areas of general thunderstorm activity. Also, a little more active in the southwest and in the southern Rockies. And then as we look at day three, and that is Wednesday into Thursday, we have an area of marginal risk from central and east Kansas into western Missouri. And still very little or nothing, except for northern Maine, very little in Florida, nothing for much of the East Coast. And as far as rainfall is concerned, over the next 7 days, the coastal plain from Maine to Virginia, Joe, a tenth to a quarter. Now, if you go inland, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you go along and west of I-81 and then north of 84 in upstate New York. That's where you start to get into the half and three quarters, and up in north central New York, it's salmon fishing season there. They've got an area of an inch and a half plus of rain being indicated. Southern Florida in an area of several inches or more of rain, as we also see in Oklahoma and southern Kansas, an area of an inch and a half to 2.5 inches, and then scattered areas of a half to three quarters up and down the Rockies and into parts of the Southwest. But on the whole, as I said earlier, it's just a very, very calmish pattern.
A very calm pattern. Excuse me, a very calm pattern indeed. And really, over the next 7 days, the only bump in the road would appear to be Friday, and not much of a bump to speak of, but maybe just enough of a bump. We do need some precipitation. Things are drying up around here, so we just may get a little bit of precipitation, just enough rain maybe on Friday, and then things clear out in time for the upcoming weekend. Very nice.
Now, the one thing I'm looking for, I'm just fluttering through the long range here. We do have some troughing here in the east. There's actually a little cutoff low that's sitting down in northern Virginia. That could be the reason why you had that swirl that went up and rotated around. the upper lower is really not doing anything. It's kind of hanging back to the west. And then you got a stronger short wave that's dropping down from the Arctic region into Canada down toward Lake Winnipeg. And that carves out another pretty deep trough for Wednesday into Thursday of this week. You got a wrapped up cutoff low there north of Lake Superior, and that's going to bring down eventually is going to try to bring through a cold front and then another shot of cooler air, chilly. We'll call it. I don't know if we want to call it chilly, but certainly cooler than normal air that
I
comes
got
in.
I got to tell you something before you get into this. I have been seeing on some social media platforms they have been promoting the big cold wave coming to the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. They've been Arctic blast. I
Oh,
don't
I
know
know
what.
that is ridiculous. To use that phrase this time of year is stupid. It's just
Yeah.
stupid.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
The word you're looking for, Joe, is stupid. Okay.
Okay.
And we know why they're doing it, and it's ridiculous. So there. It's stupid. Now, this next trough is going to lift out. We're going to see the flow get a little more westerly or even west southwest with time as we move into next week. And that'll probably make for warmer temperatures. We also have the GFS taking a wave that's off the African coast and making it into a hurricane, and you see it there approaching 60 degrees west, only to meet another strengthening trough in Labrador and Atlantic Canada, which at least on this run it turned it up near 60. Again, a long ways away here, so we saw what happened with Erin, where the models were trying to turn it at 60. It wound up going almost to 75 degrees west before it turned. So I won't, I'm not going to get too wound up with any, you shouldn't get wound up at all with any run to run uh, variations that you're going to see. But there is probably going to be some kind of tropical system out there. And then with this troughing in the longer range, you still have a mostly dry flow. I mean, this is not an upper air that it's going to evolve into an upper air pattern where the temperatures are probably going to be a little closer to average. But if you're looking for a last blast of heat, it's hard to imagine how you're going to get it with a pattern like this.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be over the next week or two. Temperature is going to be near to below normal for this time of the year. Normal is somewhere in the upper 70s, so you may be seeing a lot of days with temperatures in the mid or low 70s, even a few upper 60-degree days. If you're thinking that, hey, 80-degree temperatures or even close to 90-degree temperatures are around the corner, well, don't hold your breath. It's not coming, at least for the next couple of weeks. There's always that chance, so we could finish out the month on a warm to hot note. And just a few years ago, we actually had low 90s into early October. But this year, it looks like it's going to be pretty much a bit of a cool down over the next at least couple of weeks.
David Fuller hit the tip jar tonight. Thank you, David. And I know you don't like it to be cold, but you're going to have to deal with it. This is not maybe this is this the last couple of Septembers into Octobers. We've had that ridging in the eastern part of the United States, but every year it seems to have been less and less. And right now, at least through the first half of the month, we're not going to see any kind of ridging in the east or late season heat wave at all. We've got this surface high is taking forever to get out of the way. When you want them to hang around in the wintertime to keep the cold air in, they fly out at 100 miles an hour. This one has been literally walking across the eastern part of the United States and taking its sweet time. Finally gets out of the way on Wednesday. And here comes a cold front for Thursday approaching Ohio and western Pennsylvania. You can see where the heavier showers and storms are, western New York, western Pennsylvania down into Kentucky. And they kind of push their way toward I-81 by Thursday afternoon. After that, they just kind of weaken and fall apart as this first front pushes through Thursday night. Then you get another one on Friday where the model's generating a few scattered showers during the afternoon on Friday. And then that goes by. And then there's almost a third one here that comes through on Sunday. And that has the really cooler air behind it that's going to come into the east for the first part of next week. Nice big 1024, 1026 high dropping southeastward, spreading cool, dry air through the east and down to the deep south. So this is going to be another, push of cool air. And then after that goes out, it gets a little more active in terms of moisture. You can see the European on the lower right has a tropical system. Who knows if it's going to be there or not? But on the whole, um, you know, it's hard to imagine we're going to see many chances for rain here over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be. In fact, the Climate Prediction Center, along with the near to below normal probability for temperatures lower than normal temperatures, has us in a below normal pattern for precipitation. So it could be a coolish and rather dry set of days coming up over the next couple of weeks.
So I got the anomaly map, the departures from normal, starting with next Sunday afternoon, and you can see that the areas in purple in the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, the upper and middle Mississippi Valley, running 12 to 16 degrees below average for this time of year. And then we go to Monday, and again, in those areas, and also in the southern plains in Oklahoma, southern Kansas, and Texas, you're looking at 16 degrees or more below average in that area. And then as we move on to Tuesday, again, the center of the anomaly is up and down the middle Mississippi Valley, some below normal temperatures in the east for Monday and Tuesday. And then it starts to wane, although it does come back on Thursday to some extent and on Friday. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's just below normal temperatures going into the weekend of the 13th and 14th, and still near or below normal out at around day 15 on the European. So things are starting off. This autumn is starting off far differently than past autumns. Now, whether that means anything for the winter time or not, that I couldn't tell you, and I don't think anybody can. Um, there's not necessarily a connection between having a cold autumn with a cold winter, but uh, again, it's interesting to see. We used to see this sort of thing far more with cooler Septembers back when you and I were but babes in the professional woods. And then they went away for a while, but now they seem to be coming back.
Is there maybe a cycle to all of this? I mean,
It
people say
could
there's
be.
the
There could certainly be a cyclicality. Here's the Hurricane Center's latest on let's raise the probability now. A tropical wave south of the Cabo Verde Islands, producing disorganized showers and storms. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of this system, and a depression could develop by the middle or latter part of this week, moving west-northwest at around 15 miles an hour. So that takes care of the Atlantic. In the eastern Pacific, we have something off the coast of Mexico, which could develop into something at any time, a 90% chance there. And Tropical Storm Kiko out in the Pacific in the ocean. And that looks like it's going to. Now, this will be interesting. We'll see where it is at the end of the week. They have this strengthening to a hurricane. It's south of 15 degrees north, and at least as of the last forecast period, which is 8 a.m. Saturday, it's still at around 15 degrees north and between 100 and 145 degrees west. It has a ways to go to get closer to Hawaii, but this might be something that the Hawaiian Islands might have to watch down the road. But as far as anything else in the tropics right now, as you said, it's rather silent.
very quiet. And it may have something to do also with the fact that Labor Day started so early. Again, this is the earliest that it can come, September the 1st. But and next year, I believe, Labor Day will come as late as it can come, September the 7th, and
Seven.
maybe by next year, or for next year's Labor Day holiday, we will have a hurricane or a tropical system to talk about, but not this year. I remember in '79, we were all on Labor Day looking at and watching the future movements of Hurricane David, and that was followed a week or two later by Hurricane Frederick. That was a very
Right.
active September. So,
You never know when they're going to bust up, and all of a sudden you'll have three or four storms running around.
Yep.
All right, let's do a little bit of let's do some Briller Jeopardy here, since we really don't have too much going on weather-wise. We can gonna have to wrap up a short show. So right now we're back. We're in the month of September. So Scott has provided us with some New York City September records, starting with the highest temperature ever recorded in the month of September in New York City.
I don't think we've ever gotten to 100 in September, but I think we have gotten pretty high. I'll say 97.
No, we actually have gone to 100 in September.
Really?
Yes,
Really, he said.
yes. Harold Olson is almost there at 101, and Alfred Phillips is almost there at 101. So, and then William Uber and Frank Scalera and Miss Fowlerite and Christina Pedia, Latex Dreams and Mike Waterhouse Bonsai and all the saints that peruse the chat board. 102 on September 2nd, 1953. Now,
The 50s were a very hot decade. People talk
yes.
about how hot it's been of late because of global warming and climate change or whatever, but the 50s were pretty. They had everything in the 50s. They had the heat, they had the humidity, and they also had quite a few tropical systems, especially in 55, 56, 57. I know Carol and Hazel, and it was a crazy decade.
Yes, it was. The lowest temperature ever in September.
Well, dare I say that it has never dropped into the 30s in September?
You could
That's
say
so
it.
hot.
You could say it.
All right, I'll say it. It's never dropped into the 30s in September. How about and this would have to be toward the end of the month. I'd say 40, 42.
Wrong again, Mr. Rayo. It has dropped into the 30s, and we already have a couple of winners.
Wow.
Excuse me. Mr. Fuller Anthony at 39. 39 on September. You were right about it's the end of the month, September 30th, 1912. The coldest daytime maximum temperature. So the lowest high.
Oh dear me.
Why don't you try that again? The whole, it's never gotten below or never gotten above. Try it again for a third time.
Well, I would say that I don't
Good.
think it's ever okay. I don't think it's ever dropped into the 40s for a low minimum. So I'll say 50 for a low minimum in September.
Well,
Joe.
you are right about this. Okay, you
Oh,
were right about this one. There's never
novelty night.
we've never had we've never had a daytime maximum under 50. So the lowest, okay, so the lowest is Rich Rothmansky, 51. I can always count on Rich to nail it. 51, and that was Joe on September 19th, 1875.
It's a little early in the ball game for me.
Yes, just a smidge. What are the most 90-degree days in the month of September?
Out of the 30 days, the most 90.
The most 90 out of the 30 days. David Fuller says 7. Mike Waterhouse Bonsai says 7. Steve Lapointe says 7. Harold Olson said 6. Alan Rupa says 4. Alfred Phillips says 12. James Davidson said 10. What do you think?
I think I would say something less than 7. I'll say 5.
The answer is Northern Grace and Carol DeCara. 8. 8, Joe, in 1961. 8 days where the temperature got above 90 degrees. And there you have it. Those are our 4 questions tonight. I don't think I left anything out. Let me just make sure.
I want to thank I
Yep.
want to thank Krishnapedia because earlier on in the show, on the chat board, she posted congratulations to Renata and myself for our wedding anniversary today. What I did, Joe, on Facebook, I posted a picture of Tom Seaver with his back to the camera, showing his uniform and showing the number 41. That's all I put was just 41, Tom Seaver. And I didn't make any reference to baseball or whatever. Not too many people. I mean, I got a few likes with it, but I don't quite think that people understood what the meaning of 41 was. But believe it or not, 41 years ago today, Mr. and Mrs. Rayo were joined, and they've been joined at the hip ever since.
Yes, they have. Well, congratulations, happy anniversary. And I think at this stage we should say goodnight so that you could spend some anniversary quality time with the missus.
Well, we already spent time. We went to Applebee's for dinner tonight.
Oh,
Very,
how
very
romantic.
yes.
Did you have like the $10 special?
No, we had the 25 for 20, the two for $25.
The two for $25 special. What'd you
We had
have?
chips for the appetizer. We had chips like Dorito chips or big corn chips or whatever, which we dipped in kind of a spinach dip. Uh, it's very tasty.
Good.
And I had a 6 ounce sirloin steak, broccoli, and mashed potatoes. And I'm not quite sure what she had. She couldn't finish it, so she put it in a doggy bag and brought it
Oh,
home.
very nice. I had last Thursday, I went out with one of my neighbors for an early dinner. I had flash fried calamari. It was the best calamari I have had in, I would say, decades. It was unbelievable. And it was all tentacles. And I love I don't, the rings are fine, but it's the tentacles I want. So I always ask if
Love the
they,
tentacles.
yeah, those are
I,
Joe,
I
you would have flipped over these. It was a whole bowl. I mean, like a big plate. There must have been like 30 of them in there. It was all tentacles. You know,
uh,
I was waiting to get one where the ink would come out. You know, it was really good. And they flash fried it, which, it had like a little bit of breadcrumbs on the outside, sort of like on fried chicken, but in pieces. It wasn't like completely coated. So, oh my God, they were outstanding. So if you're ever in North Georgia, go to the Flying Trout and order the flash fried calamari. I recommend
and
it highly.
Christopedia says, ew,
Oh,
on the chat
they're
board.
the best. Okay,
And
they
yet,
are. Tentacles are the best.
and Christopedia, you're right. It was the spinach artichoke dip
Oh, okay.
that we had. That was, and she says I make amazing spinach artichoke dip. So I appreciate the clarification there. That's what we dipped our chips in.
Exactly. Well, we're going to say goodnight, and thanks everybody for being here. And I hope again you all had a great holiday weekend. That's right, David Frank Scalera. Christmas Eve, that's when you make the seafood salad. You put the calamari in it. Absolutely. But I just like I said, I raved about the
My
calamari rings.
grandfather, my grandfather and I on Christmas Eve was our tradition for a good number of years. My grandmother would buy 3 dozen little neck clams, but she didn't. They were like raw, Joe, raw little neck clams with a bit of lemon
Hmm.
on them or whatever like that, and we just scarfed the whole plate down.
I know, I remember. All right, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Have a great night. Ta ta.
99.